Good morning to my daughter Kelly. Hey man, I want to go ahead and get started quickly. I want to just share a couple of things that the Lord has given me to give you all on today. I named it today Jumpstart Thinking. If you notice, I've been dealing a lot with the thinking series. And I want to open by making this quote to you today. Set priorities for your goals. Set priority for your goals. The major part of successful living really lies within the ability to put things first. Let me get that to you again. The major part of successful living lies in the ability to put things first. The reason for major goals and why they are not achieved is because we spend our time doing the second things first. Okay, so I wanna share with you a couple of principles that I got that I believe that will help you, and it will give us great fire. I want you to be selective, not exhaustive, in your focused thinking. You need to take in accountability your priorities for yourself, for your family, for your team. Can I get that to you again? All right. You got to take into account your priorities for yourself, your family, your team. And there are many different ways that you actually determine those priorities. You got to begin focusing on your strengths, the things that's best used of your goal and your God-given talents. Okay. That being said, you may need to actually focus on what brings the highest return and the highest reward for you. As you all hear in the business world, it's the 80-20 rule. If you ever heard of the 80-20 rule, for those that have not, you give 80% of your effort to the top 20% of the most important activities that you do. You got to give exceptional opportunities to get a huge return. It really comes down to this. Give your attention to the areas that bears fruit. Let me get that to you again. Give attention to the areas that bears fruit. Okay, that's very important. If it's not bearing fruit, you need to cut the tree down. Amen. And don't build on that. That's the season where I am now. I'm not being bothered with anything that don't bear no fruit. I don't do that because I have to understand what my priorities are. And my priorities is to make sure that I am giving attention to the things that matter, to the things that's going to help me, the things that's not going to just bring a financial return, but the thing that's going to give me success in the things that I need to look at in areas that makes better sense for me than things that's going to drain me. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So you have to discover your gifts. You have to discover your gifts. What do you mean discover your gifts? If you do not have a good handle on your skills, you need to figure out what your gifts are. All right. So really, you need to do a personality profile on yourself. You need to get with some good people of past successes that can help you get to where it is that you need. I reflect on some of my past successes, but I don't stay there. My staff will tell you I'm one that when I get something done, that's it. I'm on to the next project. I don't get a chance to really savor in a lot of the moments. I don't get a chance to actually reflect on a lot of those things. Even now, I'm going back and I look at certain things that have brought great joy. But I also look at things that have also brought me great despise and hurt, so I can make sure I learn from those things and think the process through to make sure that it's getting better and better by the day. If you're going to focus on thinking in the areas of your strengths, you need to really know exactly what it is that they are. You have to make sure that you are making that building bridge to know exactly what God is calling for you to do this season, this time. All right, so you will become as small as your controlling desire, as great as your dominant aspirations. If you really want to achieve some great things in your life, you need to focus on thinking and developing your dream. Let me say that to you again. You need to focus on thinking and developing your dream. Now, I'm going to say something, and I pray that this helps you and also brings you to a point of challenge and a point of meditation. Too many minds in the room can actually mess up some things if they're not on the same page. If we're on the same team, we have to think, although we all have different minds, if we're on the same team, we have one goal, not two, not three, not five, not 10. If you are in the room with 12 people and we have one main goal, that means all 12 minds must focus on that one goal. Not you going this way, not you going that way, not you thinking your idea is the only one. We all have different mindsets. We all have different creative genes, and that's good. But you also got to remember, you have to know how to keep the main goal what the priority is. I have a saying, and you all have heard this before, keep the main thing the main thing. You want to keep the main thing the main thing, not what you think your ideal is, and you want to override this person, and because you're no, you have to make sure that if we operate as a team, that we're operating where we are dealing with an aspiration, not just a controlling desire. And a lot of people on our teams, they can be hindrances to our team when they have the wrong mindset, and they get mad at everybody because they do not see it from their point of view. Some ideas is like the Temptations. Either I'm going to invest in a record or I'm going to buy a sandwich. One of the two is going to happen. And we have to make sure that once you find your dream, that you move forward in it without second guessing it. You have to make sure. Now watch this here. I'm going to say something. You may catch this in a prophetic word, but I pray that you just catch the words that I'm saying. Don't look back. God is saying right now, don't look back. If you look back, you're going to mess something up. I want you to understand that when you find that dream, move forward. When you know God is calling you to do something, make that thing happen. When you know exactly what you know, it's okay. Now watch what I'm getting ready to tell you. It is okay if you are getting to know yourself in the strengths and weaknesses, but you got to focus on the aspirations and the desires to make that dream come to pass. The further and the higher you go, the more focused you need to be. Can you say that? Listen to me again. The further and the higher you go, the more focused you can be and that you actually need to be. Until you are focused, there's nothing that's going to happen. Nothing is going to help you. Nothing is going to help you get to that place you need to be until you eliminate yourself from distractions. Once you handle on what you should be thinking about, you got to remove these distractions. Watch this here. You got to focus on removing yourself from distractions. Now, you may say to me, well, how do I do that, Doc? Let me tell you, you have to become disciplined, and you must have a discipline of practicing your priorities. The moment I cut something off, I cut it off. I don't go back to it. I don't deal with it. You'll never hear from me. You'll never, that's the type of person I am. It doesn't mean that, that there's a proclivity, but I want you to understand what would be our connection if we no longer have that connection. You follow what I'm saying? And sometimes when you cross-pollinate, you mess up. You got to eliminate yourself from a distraction. Some of you right now cannot grow because of the distractions around you. Some of you cannot build where you need to build because of the hindrances around you. Whether it's the person that you once loved, whether it's a person that you helped, whether it's a person that have known you for years, whether it's a person that, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you isolate yourself from distractions. I found myself dealing with a block of time where I no longer deal with distractions. I don't deal with them. And when I don't deal with them, that's just my prerogative. It doesn't, and hear me very carefully, I am an extremist. So a lot of times people will say that's good, and sometimes people will say that that's bad because I operate as a extremist. When I am an extremist, that means I have mastered the art of making myself unavailable when I don't need to be, when it's not necessary for me to think about things I don't need. Every day I go to my thinking place. And when I go there, I can be there without any distractions, without any interruptions. And I am always aware, hear me, of the tension between my needs to remain accessible, also versus how I need to withdraw from some things. And when you naturally withdraw, you make sure that you understand that it is not personal, but it's for the sake of what it is that you have to do. Sometimes you have to go on. Sometimes you have to move on. Sometimes you have to separate yourself. Everything is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's great for what you need to do. And what I have to do with the spears and everything that I deal with, I have to eliminate myself from anything that is toxic, anything that is unnecessary, anything that is null or void. And I remove myself so I can unleash the potential of focused thinking. And one of the greatest things I have is when I can think, I make sure that I'm in a place where I am not interrupted, but I'm in a place where I know God is doing what he needs to do in my life to help me get better. I'm going to leave you with this on today. I was asked yesterday, I was meeting with a couple of people in my office yesterday, and they said, what is one of the things that if I could ever give it to anybody, what would it be? I said, concentration. And they laughed at me. And I said, concentration is the secret of strength. It is the secret of strength, whether it's politics, whether it's war, whether it's trade, whether it's management, whether it's human affairs. You got to have a great spirit of concentration. To better focus on what you should think about, you ought to make time for it. Okay. Because of our culture, because of our multitasking, we have to switch from task to move to efficiency. All right, let me start there. And when you move into a place of efficiency, hear me very carefully, you don't have time for non-productive time wasters. Okay, you got to get to a place where you think, amen, and you can think of other people as well as you take the time to think for yourself. Okay, you have to concentrate on ways, watch this here, you got to concentrate on ways that matters to keep the energy and the focus, hear me, before you. I love focusing. I love keying in. I love leaning in into process. I love making sure that I do that. One of the greatest things that I do just about every day, I have it here. I meant to pull it out my bag so you can see it, is that I have a high list of priorities before me. I started taking things off of my calendar right after the first of the year. Anyone that knows me know that I have with my fellowship, my church, and, my mentorship people and all those things, I always make sure that I prioritize my life that way. I do things for my family. I put that on the calendar. Then I put things for the church. Then I put things for the fellowship. Then I put things for the mentorship. Then I do things for school, whatever the case is, right? Well, what I ended up doing is that I started removing things off of my calendar after I got certain dates because I knew the expiration date that came. So I took things off of my calendar because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it, especially when I knew that it is not of a return to me to help me. I am learning that to give additional reference to certain things, I have to have something before me to remind me of what it is that I'm supposed to do. And I list my priorities every single day. I make sure that I have what I need to have in order to fulfill what I need. Even right now, I bought this big calendar thing for my desk, right, in this office. I put it right here in this office, so I'll have it. I personally bought it. Now, normally, I just have one at the office. I have a actual book that I got for Christmas that my leaders bought me from Dr. Maxwell himself, an actual organizer planner, because I still am old school to this degree. I want to have a hard book, not just a calendar that I have, okay, in my phone. And that's very good for me. Amen. That's very good for me. But I still like carrying that hard calendar. And watch this here. I began to work on my presentations. I began to work on the books. I began to work on the things that I needed, hear me, so I can make sure that whatever it is that I was supposed to have is right before me. And hear me, some things you put in pen and some things you put in pencil. Let me say that to you again. There are some things you need to have in pen and there are some things you need to have in pencil. And when I got this this big calendar, desk calendar, whatever y'all want to call it, when I got it, I knew there was a reason for me to have it. And when I got it, watch what I'm getting ready to tell you. I'm beginning, all right? I'm beginning to actually put the task of what's important that I need every day. One of the hardest things that I can do, and I believe some of you will agree with me with this, when we were growing up, we were very good with remembering phone numbers. Anybody will agree with me on that. We knew people's